Alright guys, look, I got both sides grounded. Oh, can you tell? I have no idea if you can tell or not. Alright, so now we've got some pretty crisp lines here along this. You see that? And if you leave the forge scale on there when you're doing that little motorcycle thing I was telling you about, you'll see it start to fade away and it'll get lower and lower until it's down here at the bottom. Sorry about that finger. Let me use this one. Yay! So it'll get lower, and then you just kind of work it from the cutting edge down to the back. So this is like that. So when you're grinding, it's going to be upside down. You want the blade coming towards you, spinning towards you, and hopefully this camera position is not really confusing you. So what I've done in the meantime, I got both sides done. I switched out to my 80 grit belt. So at 36, now we're on to 80, and this is not going to take long at all, because what I'm trying to do is get these 36 grit scratches out of here. You know, you don't really need to stop and you know, go to a 60, then an 80, because these Blaze belts, they rip this metal off, and they save you a lot of time. So I'm going to go ahead and knock this down with the 80, and I'm going to knock it down to the 120, which will only take just a few minutes, and then we'll have our plunge line set here, and then we're going to go ahead and go back up to the 80 and do our distal taper. So normally I would go ahead and do the distal taper now, but trying to make less videos and save a little bit of time here. So I'll just leave the camera on while I grind these in real quick. Get my gloves and my respirator. Get that off. Alright, so that's the 80 grit. You probably saw me fiddling around with this tracking. Belt kept trying to track off to the right. You know, I did some improvements to my grinder a couple weeks ago, and it's been kind of a pain in my ass. I mean, it's working better, but a lot of tweaks and stuff you got to get. And, you know, this isn't the tightest built grinder, but it works great for my needs, you know. But some of the tolerances aren't quite as tight as they need to be to make sure this thing stays locked in position. I mean, every time you move the belt or put a new belt on, you got to adjust it a little bit anyway. So, yeah, it's 6:45. I'll leave the camera on. Alright, so now we're down to 120. I'm going to pop the jig off, and then we'll start the next video with the distal taper. Bye.